Hey there, storytellers. Welcome back to Whispers from the Phylactery, where we talk about tabletop role playing games' various aspects, from the philosophy of game design to encounter building, lore, and other little tips and tricks to help you run better sessions and create stories worth remembering. Today, I want to talk about something that I feel doesn't get discussed enough, and that's what to do after your campaign ends. You've wrapped up that final boss fight. The villain is defeated, crushed from his throne, and the characters have said their goodbyes. The story has closed its final chapter. But then there's silence. This table is quiet, and the dice no longer roll. So today, let's talk about 5 meaningful things you can do after your campaign ends to honor the story that you told together. Support your players and prepare yourself for what comes next. The first thing that I want to talk about is take time to reflect with your gaming group. Don't just pack up your books and walk away. Everyone leaves after the game session ready to go back home and just carry on as everything is normal. I like to schedule a final session or an online call where you and the players can talk about what moments everyone loved, or favorite character arcs or NPCs that came up during the story, or even the funniest, scariest, or most dramatic memories. Celebrating your campaign helps to cement these moments in everyone's minds. It also gives you valuable feedback on what worked, what didn't, and what you might carry forward into your next game, which I personally find to be invaluable. I love to get feedback from my players on what I was doing, even on a session by session basis. I leave an open line for people to talk to me. But at the end of the campaign, it is good to go back, see what people think. Generally, if it's even just we really enjoyed this part where we had to delve into the cemetery of remembrance, or if it was this part where we were doing a wilderness trek for a couple sessions, we actually really enjoyed that. Or, well, the wilderness trek was a bit slow, it wasn't paced quite right. Can we not do that in the future? Then you know for next time, like, okay, write that off. They don't quite like that, or read more rules. Like, get it firmer in your brain before bringing it to the players. And even as a player, it's really nice to go over what happened in a story or see things from someone else's point of view. A story beat that you might have considered very non-focused or wasn't super important turned out to be their favorite part of the game, and it can give you a new light into both your friends and the story that you were telling together. Maybe your character's actions didn't align with how you thought they did. I just find this reflection it's really helpful for developing a better understanding of the game and your understanding as a group. So, secondly, number 2 is this one's more for storytellers, but as a player, you can also recommend doing it, and that is to offer epilogues. Not every ending wraps up every detail. Most campaigns, especially pre-published ones, whether you're looking at Pathfinder's Adventure Pass or D&D's well, Curse of Strahd or Tales from the Yawning Portal, especially since it's so episodic, they don't give a good narrative closure for the characters without extra work from the storyteller. So if you just pick it up and you run the book as written, then it's Curse of Strahd. The party's defeated Strahd, they exit the mists of Barovia, and the book closes. But that's not always satisfying to the players or to the storyteller. So I like to give players the space to narrate what their character does next in the broader world. Does the character retire peacefully? Was that their goal to start with? They were just saving up money to buy a tavern, and, well, then the world needed saving, but now it's quiet? Does a wizard character start a school for magic now that they've become an archmage? Or does we'll say, chaotic rogue become an arch villain in someone else's story? And plot hooks. You can always ask the player, hey, I really liked what you're doing with your character, and you said that you wanted them to go on and do these things. Is it okay if I use your character going forward? And maybe you can give your thoughts on what your character would do in response to these things. This works especially well if they're a player from an old campaign, but not in the same group as the new campaign. It's like, I need your take. The heroes are doing this. How would you respond as your character? You can either do this as a spoken around the table sharing, or I guess around the microphone with so much being digital now. A written epilogue that people can write down and send you later, or a collaborative storytelling chat post campaign, well, post session, post campaign. I like the last one the most, where everybody is sitting around the table or on the Discord call and you're feeding off of each other. One character might say that they do go to open a tavern in the small seaside town that everything began in, as they want to ensure that nothing crawls up from the darkness to threaten this town, not while they're still there. Or maybe hearing that one character's going off to the small seaside town, another decides, like, I was gonna go there, but, you know, knowing that as we part ways, your character was headed there, my character's an elf, I'll stop in every decade or so to see how you're doing, and what's going on with the town. And I will look after this town and your descendants. I think that a communal building is really good. It does have its drawbacks compared to if someone's more of a storyteller themselves or an author and they want to do a written epilogue. I think it does have a little bit of drawbacks compared to if someone is, they get embarrassed with groups, or they're more of an author themselves, and they'll want to write out their character's epilogue. They'll want to think about it for a few days, a week. Well, we know how it goes when writing. It might be several months later that you finally finish the story. The big thing is that epilogues provide emotional closure for players and for storytellers, and they let each player put their character's journey to rest in a way that feels satisfying and complete, instead of ham-fisted or up to the DM. It gives them control of their own. Well, it gives them their own agency, and I think that's very important, especially when you wrap up the game, is that you're telling a collaborative story. It is not the GM's story, just to do what they want with. Sure, we lay the groundwork, we set the scenarios, but the story isn't ours, not really. Not once you introduce other people. It becomes theirs. And that's always something to keep in mind. But moving on to number 3, and this one is important, is to take a break. Running a campaign for any length of time, 5 sessions, 10 sessions, a year long, 56 sessions if you do it every week, it's hard and it can drain you. All of the creative energy goes into this for so long that you shouldn't feel pressured to jump immediately into the next one. So give yourself time to decompress. Play board games together, run silly one-shots, or rotate GMs if someone else wants to try their hand at it. I mean, I've done all of these things. I've suffered burnout before where I've had to step back from the GM seat and from games altogether for like a year, 6 months to a year, before I was like, okay, I'm good. I can go back now. I was loaded up with too many campaigns. But I've also done it where we wrapped up a campaign and then for the next month we met up, we played board games together. Just to get new ideas. We played either Dungeons & Dragons board games or the Pathfinder card game. Something that was still in the spirit of fantasy or whatever campaign we were playing. If it was sci-fi from Star Wars or Starfinder. And I have been blessed that my tables usually involve a few GMs, so we can rotate through. If the game group still wants to play Vampire the Masquerade, we have 3 storytellers at the table that are ready to step in. When one finishes a campaign, we might reset for a week or 2 or 3 to play board games and just sort of remove ourselves from the previous campaign before a new storyteller steps into the GM seat to run us through their version of events in another city or another timeline where things didn't exactly happen. The unreliable narrator is a great thing. Resting prevents burnout. It renews your creativity, and it helps you come back with fresh energy when you're ready to start your next big campaign. Don't try and just throw yourself into it, especially if you can already feel that little inkling at the back of your brain, like, I'm slowing down, I don't know what to just put down anymore. I've tried so hard for so long, and it's finally over. If you get to the point where you end the campaign and you're like, oh, thank God, I don't have to run anymore, that's usually a sign of a problem. Take your rest. It's fine to have rest, and if your players are saying, no, jump into the next one, one of them can take over. If they're that desperate, they can give it a shot, and you can play for once, and that's always great. Some people thrive on being the forever DM. I know I like to be DMing more often than not, at least like once a week, but I like to play too. Even if it's the same system, different system, I like to not have that mental energy of being in control. So take care of yourselves. That's the main point of this one. Take care of yourselves, take care of your players. And speaking of taking care of things, before we go into number 4, if you like this video, consider giving a like and subscribe. It lets me know what you guys like to see, and it helps push the channel forward. Moving on, number 4. In this one, not enough people do, especially not enough people do in my opinion, and that's archiving the campaign. Gather your notes, gather your handouts, your maps, your player creations, organize them in a folder, a binder, or upload them all digitally and provide a Google Drive link for your players. You might never use it again, that's true, or you might revisit it years later for nostalgia or inspiration. I still have character sheets that I look back on, and unfortunately, time passes and we lose friends, but I still find the character sheets, and I think about the good moments of those campaigns. Even when it hurts a little bit, it's still good, and nostalgia's good. It's useful. Even if you don't think that you'll never look at it again, you might. You might want to. You might stumble across it years later, and it'll bring back memories. That is the main part of it. So some game masters create campaign summaries, capturing major arcs, NPCs, and moments in a single document to share with the players as a keepsake. It's preserving a place, a piece of your group's shared history. I know for one campaign I ran, it spanned 2 years, 20 levels, mythic levels, and to celebrate, I got everyone a crystal stein, or not a crystal stein, a glass stein, that had the game's logo on it, as well as all of the characters' names. And that was my gift, was handing that out. Of course, you don't have to be that fancy. Just having a collected summary of notes, either from a very good note taker, or as you're running the game, your session notes, you mark down after sessions, like what were the big events that happened. Having that to give people is also it's something to remember it by. And I think that's a very big thing, is so often we go through games, and even if we really enjoyed them, we just don't remember them. Time passes a couple years later, and it's like, yeah, I played with those guys. I think my character was a ranger. Like, they might have had a wolf companion instead of, yeah, my ranger Hawk. He had a companion, Gabriel. It was a massive dire wolf with tawny fur. We went on an adventure into the Bellicor Mountains. We stopped the orc warlord Grumkamesh. And I did this with my friends, with Zarn the Quick, and oh, names off the top of my head are not coming to me right now. Or Elminster. Elminster's fine. It creates more cemented memories, is the point I'm trying to get at. And yes, these videos have minimal scripting. Most of it's rambling. Sorry. On to the next one. Number 5. Plan what's coming next. But carefully. Do it a little carefully. Think about what you want to do. Ask yourselves, do I want to run another long campaign right away? Would one-shots or a shorter arc be better for the group right now? Or is there a different system or genre that I want to explore? I know my shelf here has 6 different systems on it. I have more on the shelf over there. I like to run through a variety of things. I mean, I love fantasy. I also like dark urban vampire. Or sci-fi with Edge of the Empire. Or even the horror of Call of Cthulhu. It's okay to want to tell a different story. Talk with your players. Talk about their interests and their energy levels before diving into something new. People might be tired. They might need that month and a half. Or maybe the entire table's ready to go. I don't recommend doing it, but maybe everyone is. And you're ready to start again. When gathering everyone's input, it shapes the next campaign. Buy-in is stronger if you're talking about it ahead of time. See session 0. And you're less likely to burn out midway through if everyone's excited. Part of what I do is when I'm preparing for a new campaign and I'm wrapping up the old one, is if I have ideas, I will give my players 2 or 3 like summaries that I'm interested in running, and I gather feedback on what the group wants to play and tweak it to their preferences. I know for my online group now, I gave them an option of 2 fairly different campaign arcs, both in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, but one is more of a delving into a mega dungeon and its surrounding environs, and one's more of an episodic mystery game. And then they ended up choosing the mega dungeon. So I was like, all right, I was interested in running both of them, but I gave the option, and that creates better buy-in from everyone else. Instead of being like, yeah, we're going to play this thing now. We're going to play Vampire, and we're going to do it in Chicago, and this is the way it's going to be. It's, what does the group feel about Vampire? Cool. What's everyone, like, what city do people want to tell? What story do people want to tell? Maybe, do you want to be Camarilla? Do you want to be Anarch? These are things you should be discussing, by the way, for Vampire. Not just the GM saying, hey, this is what we're doing. Player buy-in helps a lot, in my opinion. Dun, 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 dun. I don't think I have anything more to say on that particular one, so let's just wrap it up, I guess. Ending a campaign, it isn't just a finish line, it's a doorway to the next stage. And I mean, how many times have we heard this cliche of, when God closes one door, he opens another? I mean, people say it. There's a little bit of truth to it. We're going to ignore the religious bit. But when one door closes, opportunities open up for the next one. I always try and encourage players like, hey, do you want to run something? Maybe get new GMs into the pool. Nudge, nudge. That was a bit harder of a nudge than intended. It helps to bring you together and to cement it and all these things that we just talked about, to prevent burnout and see what waits next. Take time to reflect, offer epilogues, rest, archive, and plan your next steps with intention. Doing so makes the group stronger and your stories deeper. So, I've got a question. What do you usually do after your campaigns end? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to see or hear your rituals and reflections. I mean, I can't see them, that'd be weird. But I'd love to hear them and to know what your group's ideas are. So, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any more of my discussions on tabletop RPGs. And I suppose until next time, may your dice roll true, and may every ending become the seed for a new beginning. So long, adventurers.